The next Muslim empire we are going to speak about is the Umayyad Caliphate. You have a few bullet points that you need to know here. First, we're going to talk about the fact that the Dome of the Rock was constructed during this time period. You should remember that the Dome of the Rock is built here in Jerusalem, and it is built on the site of where the Jewish temple used to be. And of course, there are a lot of issues with that today, since Jews and many Christians want that site back. And some people believe that the Jews deserve to create their own holy land there, and they cannot do so if the Muslims have their own religious temple there. So again, an issue that still speaks to today's current events. That's your first bullet point. The second bullet point is that they were the ones who conquered at least part of Europe. Specifically, I want you to write down Spain for that bullet point. They conquered Spain. Now, the only reason that they were stopped from continuing on and taking over the rest of Europe is because of a very important battle called the Battle of Tours. Now, this important battle, we'll talk more about this in our next unit. This was led by Charles Martel. He was a Frankish military leader, and he was the victor in this battle and the savior of Europe. So the Battle of Tours is the only reason why the Muslims did not continue on, and they were then driven down, where they had control of Spain for a while. Now, the next people who conquered them were the Abbasids. I'm going to go ahead to the next slide just so you can get the spelling there, but I'm not going to talk much more about them because that'll be in my next video. One thing I do want to point out here is just the brutality of the Abbasids as they conquered the Umayyads. Now, you might be asking yourself, why are Muslims conquering Muslims? A lot of it has to do with the Sunni-Shia divide. It also has to do with the fact that a lot of these empires were not traditionally or conservative Muslim. What do I mean by that? Well, going back here to the Rashidun, they were very conservative. They followed Islam very closely. The Umayyads, on the other hand, were far less religious. They were just more concerned with gaining territory. And that is true with the Abbasids after them as well. It was less about Islam and more about land. Okay, so we'll come back there in a little bit. So the last bullet point you should have for Umayyad is the fact that they were conquered by the Abbasids, and that will be the subject of our next video. If you ever want to look into some more Islamic history, like you just can't get enough, you can look into more of the Sunni-Shia split and what the Umayyads did to the Shia Caliphate. And so if you want to Google something, it's a special day in Islamic calendar. It's called the Massacre of Hussein. Hussein is spelled Husayn. So this is celebrated just by the Shias, and not so much celebrated as more of remembered. And it's one of the big reasons why the Shia and the Sunni will never reunite. It goes back to the murder of one of their main leaders. That's kind of a tangent. We'll stop this video for now so you can take your notes on the Umayyads.